In the beginning, the Creator God made the world by His powerful word. God is sovereign over all creation, the heavens and the earth. In love, He rules with absolute authority and power, and creation praises His mighty strength. Having made the world as His kingdom, God appointed Adam to reign over the creation. Adam was God's co-regent, the Prince of Creation. He was given dominion to rule God's creation, symbolized by his right to name the animals. As sovereign king, God appointed humanity to rule His world. At some point, a host of spiritual angels rebelled against God's sovereign rule. Satan, the adversary, led the mutiny. The devil schemed to expand his illegitimate power over the earth by bringing humanity under his rule. Satan took the form of a serpent and wooed Adam and Eve out from God's kingdom into his domain. The rebel forces subjugated humans. Adam's family lost its position of power and authority in the world. Satan is now the de facto ruler. He became the new prince. We were born into his kingdom. People's eyes are blinded and hearts are captured by Satan. Sin, spiritual attack, and idolatry enslave human souls to dark forces. To reclaim ultimate sovereignty over His kingdom, God selected Israel to be His special instrument in the spiritual battle. Through a covenantal relationship with Israel, God would expand His dominion to all nations. When Israel was oppressed in Egypt, God confronted the Egyptian gods to liberate them from the bondage of Pharaoh. The Exodus demonstrated God's power to all people. God is a mighty warrior and king whose heavenly power over evil translates into earthly conquest. When Israel relied upon God, He granted victory regardless of their military disadvantage. But too often, they sought power in the wrong places. Israel succumbed to the temptation of false gods in idolatry and occult practices. Instead of depending on the Lord of hosts, they allied with the gods of Canaan and rulers of larger nations to ensure protection and blessings. Prophets proclaimed and demonstrated God's superiority over the Canaanite gods, but Israel remained powerless to escape Satan's influence. But God had a plan to break Satan's power over His people. God's liberating power was incarnated in the person of Jesus. He inaugurated God's long-awaited kingdom. Fully empowered by God's Spirit, Jesus resisted Satan's offer of co-rulership and remained committed to God's mission of dismantling Satan's kingdom. On an unprecedented scale, Jesus delivered people held captive by Satan. By healing the sick, raising the dead, and casting out demons, Jesus disarmed Beelzebub to plunder his kingdom and set the captives free. Because God was with him, Jesus saved all who were under the power of the devil. The powers thought killing God's Son would solidify their authority in the world. Their plan backfired. The death of Jesus Christ was the death blow to evil forces. The cross disarmed the powers and authorities and publicly triumphed over them. Then, in the ultimate display of divine power, God resurrected Jesus. Jesus rose from the dead to a position of power and dominion far above all rule and authority. People must now turn from dark powers and submit to Jesus as Lord. Believers in Jesus are transferred from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of light. God raises us up with Christ and seats us with Him in the heavenly realms so that we too have a power and dominion far above all other authorities. God's grace restores our authoritative position in the world. We are co-heirs with Christ. With constant access to God's Spirit, we now stand firm against Satan. Though Satan continues as a lion on the prowl, Jesus shields us from his evil influence as we affirm our identity and authority in God's anointed Son. God blesses Christians with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realm, rendering black magic and occult practices spiritually futile. As Christians walk by God's Spirit in faith and love, we conquer the enemy and strip off enslaving sin. The battle concludes when God binds Satan's forces and then rules the world from His throne for all eternity with His people.